What's going on, all you gamers? Today we're back with some more Cyberpunk 2077, and I thought what better way to dive into the weekend than to go over some of the best rides that you can get in the game. So if you want to see some of the fastest and cool looking rides, including bikes and cars, then stay tuned. That's coming up next. Welcome back, all you gamers. Today we're back with some more Cyberpunk 2077, and there's a lot of new players to the game, so I thought it'd be a good time to have a little look at some of the coolest rides that you can get hold of, some of which are really worth knowing. Let's face it, it's amazing having a powerful build and being able to take everything out with strong weapons, but looking cool whilst you get to those destinations can also make things really nice in a role-playing game such as this. So what are the best rides you should be looking for, and how do you get hold of them? Right, so first up, what I'm going to do, rather than showing you how to get hold of each one, which would add about 8 minutes on the timer of this actual video, I'm going to chuck a description over on the right, and if you need more info, just tap their name into YouTube and you'll be able to find that quite easily. But first off, we're going to be going over the best bikes you can get hold of and why I think they're the ones you should aim for. Now what I'm going to be doing is giving you 3 of the best bikes and 5 of the best cars, because there's a few more cars than there are bikes in the game. First up, at number 3, we're going to be going over the Scorpion Apollo. Just so you can appreciate the paintwork, the Scorpion Apollo is a cut above all the rest of them. Look at that, El Ducados. Gold tint and absolutely looks amazing. Also, if we jump on it, this one, if I don't get completely smashed up, has some awesome lighting effect. Obviously now since patch 1.6 they've changed things around a little bit and you get different colours on your bikes. This one looks really cool. I'm going to chuck it over to nighttime in order to show ya. Obviously honking your horn means that you're going to activate your glowing rims now, and it's well worth doing if you want to look awesome as you ride along. This is definitely my favourite for the Apollos, by far the best of them, and I love the colour of the rims. So if you want an Apollo, this is the one you're going to go for, as it's probably the best of the bunch. Now this is definitely our second spot, as it's a bike you just have to get hold of for sentimental value, and that's Jackie's Arch. This one again just looks the absolute business, and because it's Jackie's, it's one that you have to get hold of, just for how cool it is and for obviously sentimental value like I said. Inscribed at the back with Valentinos and with some custom leather upholstery as you can see there in red, this one is just awesome. Plus it's also got the Valentino skull just there. Rides like an absolute dream, and I love the sound effects with this one. Proper got a bit of oomph to it. Again, if we want to activate our wheels, this one is so cool. I think this is probably one of the best bikes in the game. Well worth having, and if we chuck it over to nighttime, orange glowing effect you get on this is probably one of the best. And I think out of all of the bikes, Jackie's is probably the one you're going to want to most get hold of, just because it's going to mean the most to you. Now coming in at number 1 spot, and you're probably thinking, how could Jackie's not be number 1? It's because I absolutely love this bike, the Kusanagi CT3X. This is the Akira bike through and through, and is absolutely amazing. If we call that in right now, it's a little bit sunny out, but how cool is that? That is just very, very cyberpunky, but looks so slick. This is the fastest bike you can get hold of. It just looks amazing. It gets you anywhere on time. I feel like they've got this one completely spot on. I really do, and if there was any bike I had to have, it would probably be this one personally. However, there is one thing that's a little bit, I would say, of a downfall on their side, and that's that if you've seen Akira, I really expected the kind of glowing rims to be green. However, on this bike, they're blue. It doesn't go with it properly in my eyes. It still looks cool, and the bike is definitely the best in my opinion, but it just... sorry love. Yeah, I couldn't have recorded that, but yeah, it just... I think it should be green, or they change it down the line. But yeah, to me, during the night time, this really feels like it should be green. Maybe it's just because I've watched the anime so many times, but ultimately it's no big deal, and this is still an awesome ride to have for absolutely anyone who wants to be taking over Night City and looking cool while they do it. Right, so those were the best bikes that Night City has to offer, but now what about the cars? First one we're going to jump straight into is going to be an off-roader, one that looks awesome and can definitely do the business, and that's your Mizutani Xion Coyote. This, if I call it in there, just does the job. If you're out in the Badlands, if you're at somewhere where you've just got some kind of bumpy terrain, just look how cool this one looks. Definitely one of the better looking cars in the game. The engine spins around, you can just see it going as you drive, and this one's a lot of fun. So we're going to take it for a little test drive and I'm going to show you what it's all about. Nice and sturdy, this one is awesome and the best by a mile for taking on terrain such as this. If you want to be just absolutely massacring cactus and you'd want a lot of fun whilst you do it, then the Coyote is going to be the car for you. Coming in at number 4, and what I think is the most cyberpunk looking car in the game, is going to be the Type 66 Javelin. This car is one of my favourites, it's just so good, and it tends to, right, it's stuck up there, it tends to just kind of bridge the gap between off-road and road. But look at the aesthetics. This really gives me that cyberpunk-esque vibe. The car looks so cool, it really does. One of my favourite cars in the game. It's got a nice bit of speed for it as well. I actually think it's quite sturdy. It's on and off-road is very good. And this is one of my hands down favourite vehicles to drive wherever I'm going. It's not quite the fastest as some of the others on the list, but for that cyberpunk authentic feel, this is probably going to be the car that you're going for, as it just looks amazing. Coming in at a number 3 spot, if you 100% have to look ghetto fabulous, this is the car to do it in, the Villador Alvarado. This is just completely different to anything else that you're going to get hold of. It just looks bling-tastic. Look at that, completely pimped out in gold, 6 wheels, avocados all the way around. This is just an awesome ride. You will feel like $1 million as you ride this along. I would say it's probably not the best for actually getting to places for speed or anything such as that, but for looks and just a whole bunch of cool effect, this is the ride for you. Looks so cool, such a good vibe, quite different to any of the other cars in the game, especially the ones on my list. This next one, again another sentimental one that you'll want no doubt, especially if you're a Porsche fan, and that's going to be the Porsche 911 Turbo. This is Johnny's ride and it's one that you won't want to miss. I thought it was that then. Where is it?
Few moments later.
However, when I called it in, for some reason there's an absolute kick-off. Right, let's get in our car and go. Blaming Johnny for this. But yeah. Look how cool that is. Samurai on the back. Porsche 911. Old school. Proper old school. But kind of awesome. Especially if you're a Johnny fan, this is one you're going to want to get hold of. Definitely not lacking in the speed department as well. It's got quite a bit of kick to it. And is one of the best cars in the game. So for our number 2 spot, we've got this. So what can beat Johnny's car? Now remember, it's all down to opinion. Some will put others above what I have, but for me the Caliburn is just the most awesome car in the game. Amazing to look at, highest speed, you can get it quite early on, and of course it's free, which is just the icing on the cake. Right, so it finally turned up. Must have been a hold up somewhere, but this car is just so good. So streamlined, it looks absolutely fantastic. The tail wing, when you get to a certain speed, I cannot for the life of me remember, but that comes out as well, making it a little bit more aerodynamic. And I just love everything about this car. Looks wise, speed wise, handling, it is absolutely amazing. Probably don't take it off-road into any kind of ditches or anything, because you'll definitely regret that. But ultimately, for looking good and just getting from place to place, this is probably the best car in the game. The sounds are really good. Look at the speed, it's already hit 100. I've only just tapped my trigger. The only thing you've got to be careful is smashing into things if you don't slow down enough. This is fast, it's got good handling, but it by no means does it turn on a dime, and you're going to want to make sure you give it enough time in order to make those corners. But yeah, if you're playing this very much like it is a racing car, then you're going to enjoy this and you're going to get about the place very, very fast. So this is my number one pick. I absolutely adore this car, and I think it's probably the best car in the game currently. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. I've just scuffed it already, but for all things gaming, for all things Xbox, take care. I'll see you on the next day.